So I had um interesting conversation the other day with a neighbor, and actually she had made a comment to me about medical situation for her, and I started telling her about yoga and meditation and qigong, and I was sitting in full lotus, uh, um just because we were talking about yoga and stuff. Good morning. And so I started telling her the story about, I started recounting my experiences with the psychic energy healing. And when I was talking to her, I got the chills. And right when I got the chills, she said she got the chills. And I never said I got the chills, but she goes, "Oh, I just got the chills," when I was, and I had just gotten the chills at the same time. And I was about, I don't know, probably like 30 feet away from her. So I wasn't close to her or anything, but I can't remember the specific moment of what I was talking about. But yeah, I mean, the fact that, she got the chills the same time that I got the chills, um, it didn't surprise me at all, but it was one of those rare, kind of like verbal confirmations that there's this energy that two people are experiencing that's kind of this psychic energy or whatever. And I've explicitly said it feels it's called phrygian, which is what they call skin orgasm, which is the chills. And that's the vagus nerve being activated. And but of course that's just the low level of the psychic energy. And I kept just going. I will rant about qigong if I'm given the chance. And at one point I said, you want me to stop talking? And she's like, no, no, I'm fascinated by this. And so I kept talking, and but then she's like, okay, I'm going inside and meditate. And yeah, but basically there's this secret power of meditation, but unfortunately as a culture we are stuck in a lower vibration, so to speak. But it's not even lower because the non-locality is not from a place; it's like from the future. So it's we because in Western terms we think of things in spatially, so we say higher vibration, but it's actually more subtle than that. It's like a you know from the future that you can't see. So that's where it gets to be a paradox in a sense. And anyway, um, so most people were just trying to survive physically, and that's completely understandable because we are animals. And I enjoy just hanging out with other critters, whether they're rabbits or chipmunks or squirrels or different kinds of birds, in the woods, in the forest, like big woodpeckers or all sorts of different insects and frogs and snakes. And that's what makes life interesting to me, is all the different kind of wildlife that I encounter when I go out to harvest mushrooms in the woods. Even though I don't make any money from it, I've been fortunate enough to be able to grow mushrooms as my business. But Um, so ideally, it's like, yeah, if I was meditating all the time, then I'd be able to build up this spiritual energy for healing other people. And I definitely have experienced that. But you have to basically in modern times, you have to get people to like pay you to meditate, which is hard to do because most people expect some kind of physical thing they can measure when they pay for something. They want to see results, and the problem is that the results of meditation are they can be very subtle, because you're dealing with somebody's mind. Actually, Qigong Master Jim Nance told me this great story how somebody came to the office to get healed and they could not walk for whatever reason. I don't know. I think they could like barely walk when they came in, and he healed them, and they could walk when they left. And but the thing is that their mind could not handle it, and so their mind like was in such denial that they had been healed that the person like reversed their healing, from their mind. So um it does prove that the what he calls the perspective, which is versus awareness. So perspective is like your personality or your ideology or whatever, your mind. And then Qigong Master Chen Yulin says, "Oh, you think too much." Well, it's like, yeah, because thinking, civilization is based on thinking to solve problems with technology and all that, but meditation is based on listening and visualization. And so that's the awareness, the formless awareness or the emptiness. And now that we are experiencing the equinox, so the energy is naturally stronger right now in the third eye. Um, so that's something I was experiencing last night. But I also have been doing a lot of cocoa because cocoa is natural tryptamine, and tryptamine is a psychedelic. So cocoa's like a legal psychedelic if you take a lot of cocoa. It just gives you more vivid dreams. And in Central America, they rely on cocoa as sort of like a medicinal drink every night, and it keeps you know, it's healthy for you too. So, um, yeah, so you can have different medicine, like ginger is another thing that I rely on for medicine. I get organic ginger powder. It's very effective antiviral. Goes against like sugar and whatever viruses are out there. Activates the ACE2 receptor or blocks the ACE2 receptor actually. Um, yeah, so it's it's fun. It's fun that we can meditate, and if we do it on a serious level, we can store up the energy and use it for healing others. And once the third eye opens up, um, and it's originates from the heart, but you store the energy in the small intestines, and that's where it gets really weird because you have to. One thing that Qigong Master Chen Yulin said in class one day, he said that if you eat too much for Qigong people, the food goes to your head. The food goes to your head. And when I heard that, I I thought, oh great, because I've like rewired my physiology now where in advanced qigong you have to do a modified bigu diet, which is basically like intermittent fasting essentially. You're not supposed to, like, monks don't eat food after noon in Southeast Asia. Greetings. So, of course, I mean, food is another source of the energy. If you're not meditating a lot, you get your energy from food. So it's kind of like, well, after you meditate a certain amount, then you're sort of like permanently wired to get your energy from meditation. But then, since we live in a culture that's against meditation, then it's like you're kind of then you're like, okay, you're gonna have to deal with the food going to my head now. You have to learn to try to control the energy. So it's like you're storing the energy in your gut, but then there's the whole purification of your mind, the celibacy aspect, um, which is always a struggle because it's like you're dealing with subconscious instinctual drive that not just of you but of people around you, and it's always changing. And even especially with the internet, because that's like a big thing on the internet, obviously. um so you get like it's constant. Like, Qigong Master Jim Nance, like I said, he told me just not to use the internet. Don't use the internet. Don't watch the lyrics that you listen to when you listen to music, and don't watch TV. So you basically, like, if you want to do advanced meditation, you really do have to be a hermit essentially. And it's like, yeah, you can do that if you could convince people to pay you to do it. And um like he told me, I mean, it's a challenge, to market qigong as something worthy for people to pay for or whatever. And that's not something I'm interested in doing because obviously, most people are struggling to pay their cost of living. Um, but I'm just trying to explain like why qigong masters are so rare, and it's not easy, to um but then again, there's a paradox because it's like, well, if you want to protect your energy, then you need to charge more money because that proves like people have to take it seriously. And then if you charge more money, then you have enough money to, protect yourself and do what you need to do to meditate a lot. And then there's the whole spiritual ego thing where they're building up these powers, and so they build up their ego. You have to have a really big ego to ironically to go into the emptiness, which is, yeah, it's a subtle difference between your spirit as ego, spiritual ego, and um the emptiness, which is the formless awareness, which is beyond um any conceptual realm. So it's beyond the individual. And yeah, so it's a kind of a fascinating world of mystery. And yeah, so I'm basically just trying to survive physically. Um I've been working on putting in a water well on my land, just for a manual water pump, and it's not working out because I dug water down. I've been working on it for years. If you think about it, a lot of people, on the earth, they do not have access to fresh water, not easily. They have to walk miles. Um, to get a well dug, it's super expensive. And I bought land that has fresh water. But the thing is that the soil is very thick, heavy clay soil, so the recharge rate is very slow for the water. So I hand dug a hole down as far as I could with extendable augers, which is basically like pipes that you screw onto each other and extend them 5 feet at a time or 4 feet. I went down like 25 feet, and then the water would run out because it wasn't the water table. then I got down to like 30 feet by um, driving a well point, which is, with a sledgehammer, or no, a post pipe. So I'm slamming down this big 30-pound post pipe, and I thought I had got down to the water table because the water was not running out, and I'm like, okay, because I could feel it was getting easier to pound. So I'm like, okay, I'm getting past the clay, I'm getting into the sand. But I think what happened is the well point clogged up. The the tip of the well point, it's got a like a sieve filter on it, but it can clog up, and so it didn't recharge, even though it was deeper down. It's like 30 feet down, and so then it's a little over 30 feet actually. It's like maybe 33 feet, but so I'm like, well, all right, didn't recharge, so I have another well pipe next to it that's just a hand dug level. It's not with the well driving. I started a well to drive that down, but that's like a 2 foot wide, 2 inch diameter pipe, so it's a lot harder to drive that through the clay. And the other problem is when you're driving it with the post pounder, um, or some people, they would use a gas powered engine, to do a post pounder, and then it breaks because the vibrations, it breaks the pipe. Even though it's a steel pipe, it breaks at the coupler. Um, yeah, so that's why there's specialized companies, businesses that specialize in digging wells, and it costs thousands of dollars to get it done. And then you got to clear out all the trees, and you lose the wildlife. And I like my land because of the birds that migrate there for millions of years, and the frogs, and so yeah, I still have water, but it's not a lot of water. It seems to be recharging through the well the well, maybe not into the well pipe, but around the well pipe and up to the other well pipe that's not as deep. So I'm just gonna keep at it, see what happens, and try to physically survive the end times that we are living in. And that's pretty much all I gotta say. Um, Meditate, and eventually, you know, join everybody else when they leave their body. And but yeah, that the great thing about Taoist meditation is it's focused on longevity, not just health, but longevity and healing others, immortality. Um, so it's a fun place to be when you can help heal other people, even though it might bring out your own impurities. But as long as people can like tolerate the eccentricities of that healing process. So happy equinox 2025.